So I'm Maggie Appleton. I studied at the University of Birmingham as a Heritage Management Master's student at the Ironbridge Institute, and that was back in 1991. And I'm now the Chief Executive at the Royal Air Force Museum. So we've got two sites, one in North London and one relatively close to Birmingham, in the Midlands, next to RAF Cosford. So after graduating from Birmingham University, I applied for my first job, which was as an assistant registrar at the Royal Armies, which was then in the Tower of London. Of course, it's in Leeds now. And that was a really interesting job, working with the conservation team, administering loans, doing loans checks. It was very much again, a first job away in a massively brilliant learning opportunity. I was really keen though to be a social historian, and a community historian, that's my passion. So I've been there for about a year, and a role came up as assistant curator at Stevenage Museum, which was my absolute dream job. And I was fortunate enough to get that job. I was then at Stevenage for 11 years in different roles as assistant curator, and then I became curator, which was basically the manager of the museum. And it was an amazing 11 years. Really, because for me, working in a small museum where you do everything from writing exhibitions, doing the community work, doing the marketing, cleaning the toilets, all of those things are a really, really important learning experience. And so I went on from Stevenage to Luton, and again, fantastic museum, brilliant community experience, in a larger service with two museums when it was part of the Renaissance in the regions time, so a regional role as well as the museum role. So again, brilliant time. And from there, actually, I became chief exec of Luton Culture, because we were one of the museum services that spun out of the local authority into a trust with libraries and arts and community centres. So my next role was chief exec of that wider charity, which again was just a superb experience. And from there I came to the RAF Museum as chief executive, which is a national museum, but very much, again, we are very clear that we're also a community museum for the communities that we're in, whilst having an internationally important story. So every experience has been amazing, and they all lead from having that great opportunity to study that master's degree at Birmingham. So the great thing about being chief executive of a museum and a national museum like the RAF Museum is that no 2 days are ever the same. But of course, there is a thread that runs through the role, which is about being the person that links between our trustees and our team, leading the direction of the museum and the strategy of the museum and the detailed plan that leads it. But also very much for me, and certainly at the RAF Museum, it was about what is the personality of the museum, what's the tone of the museum, and really for me it's all about being visitor led, being people oriented and outwardly focused. So it is about leading the big strategy, but day to day is absolutely about working with and supporting our teams to deliver great programs that mean that the strategic vision we're talking about bringing everyone into our heritage, and it's about it belonging to everyone. It's making sure that all our programs, our exhibitions, our events are all absolutely fulfilling that mission. So there's an absolutely clear golden thread that runs through everything we do. But yes, so that's what I do. But day to day, that means lots of different things, from lots of meetings with teams. But really, as a CEO, a lot of your role is very outward focused. For me, it's about meeting supporters, stakeholders, because you're also, as well as thinking of myself as chief curator, I'm chief fundraiser as well. So there's a lot of advocating for the museum, which, of course, when you're working for a great organisation with amazing collection and brilliant colleagues, it's a very easy thing to do. If you're looking to join us in the cultural and heritage sector, or you're already in the cultural sector and heritage sector and looking to move and progress your career, the most important thing is about attitude and working with other people, because we are collaborative team organisations. That is about working together. It's about being proactive. It's about being positive, supportive colleagues. It's about being curious, looking for new opportunities, making sure that we're connected with the world around us to bring in different ideas and different skills to our organisations. And it is about not being afraid to question, but also about, back to that questioning in the right voice, in the right tone. Certainly for me, that is absolutely what I would look for from colleagues looking to join our organisation. And it just reminds me, one of my most brilliant colleagues at the museum is the manager of our conservation centre in the Midlands, who is an engineer, looks after our amazing large object collection. And when I first joined 7 years ago, I will never forget saying to him, because we've got a brilliant apprentice programme there, saying to him, what do you look most for when you're bringing in an apprentice? And he said, I look for people who like people and can talk to people. I can teach anyone engineering. And of course, we need people with that skills and knowledge and expertise, but most of all, we need people who like people and can engage with people. So if you're looking for your first role in a museum, other heritage or cultural attraction, the first step I would say is be open-minded. You're not going to get your first perfect job, or likely to, the first time. So be open-minded and think about what you can learn from the different roles out there. So cast your net widely, look at all the different places for the jobs, but really keep open-minded. As I said earlier, my first role was at the Royal Armouries as an assistant registrar. I'm not an assistant registrar, that's what wasn't in my heart, but blimey, the skills I learned from that role were fantastic and really set me up for the next role, which happened to be the one that I really believed had my name on it. So be open-minded, but don't just take a job either and coast it thinking this is right for my CV. If you do take one of those jobs, even if it's not perfect, put your whole mind and heart and soul into it, because you will learn from it, and you will you put something into your organisation and take something out that's really valuable. So heart and soul, cast your net widely.